Hello, welcome back to SVerchok Live Learning. Today, November prompt is the drawing. Okay, this is day 6. With drawing, there's actually nothing much with drawing. I mean, you can, of course, draw anything with nodes. That's procedural. But I think my favorite one is kind of like a random walk or random vector or, something to do with noise. So you can start with maybe random points itself will give a bunch of points, and with a bunch of points, if it's in SVerchok, you can connect the dot using UV connections. So that's one way to do this. And the result, you want it to be edges, and this is what you get right away. So you can have as many points as you want. You might notice the points is actually kind of like on the sphere. If you want this to be more random, you use randomize, and you can randomize further, so it is totally messy. And there's something that's actually less random. For example, if you use line and noise. So line itself by default is actually making a straight lines in any direction you want. But if you want to have noise, you can vector noise. This will give you something that's less random. It's actually looking kind of nice. I always like this and play around with it. So this is kind of like drawing, but drawing is more like, very often it's more like you want to see it growing. So let's say we have 100 points here. File, save as, let's call it day 6 lines. So drawing is more about the progress. I think it's more interesting than the final result. Of course, final result, you want to present it as something that you can render. But a quick and better way to present this is probably by using curve. So with curve, we can segment. You can see the segment. Let's find the segment. Could be hard to find. There's this cubic spline, but there's also polyline. So we can use polyline and plug this vertices from vector noise to this guy. And with curve, we can create segment. Or we can use cubic spline as well. This can be a little bit slower, but I'm trying to find split curve. Could be ISO. It's not ISO actually. Let me save this very quickly. Curve segment. Okay, it's hard to find. So with curve segment, we can kind of divide the curve into segment, and we can see the result if we use evaluate curve. So let's delete that. So we have the same result, but we can resample it here, and we can also kind of animate the T minimum and T maximum of this. I have a feeling there's another way. This one can be kind of slow sometimes. Maybe we don't need too many points, because we can always kind of resample it. So that's polyline, right? We can we can have like really little value of points. It gives us this path, and we can animate this. We also have cubic spline, which is less corner, like this will give us rounded, you know, like Bezier spline, and you can animate this. Or if it's give an error, that's because we are outside of the boundary. And we can always resample this curve. Maybe it's a good idea to also rescale. Okay, so for the output, you can output it as actual curve, or you can also use something like pipe surface from curve. This one comes in handy. So let's output this as a real object. There you go. This one can sometimes twist, create like a twist, but we can always pick different algorithm. Something like that. And with pipe, of course, we have resolution as well, and we can resample it more over here. There. It's a bit nicer. And with our line and our vector noise, we can always scale it using vector math. Multiply by scalar. Okay. So we can animate our line growing. Sometimes you want to have like a real curve, so you can use polyline viewer. With polyline viewer, somehow this guy over here have a really nice algorithm, and things never flip if you use this. So curve has advantage. You can also change the resolution here. So that's curve. This is pipe, polygon pipe. And there's one thing, if you want to do like a drawing, you can also use, you know, like just draw dots along the path. So for the dots, you can use sphere, or I just use icosphere. And we can resample, you can always resample, but let's say we evaluate the curve here. This is the segment. We can use the points as the matrix, and we can also turn on merge, so it's become a single objects with bunch of dots. So I think this make up drawings. And if you want the dots to have some kind of tangent, you can use matrix normal. This will give a nicer result overall, because it's like the icosphere is following the lines, kind of turning itself. So all the way back, we can now play around with this. And with drawings and icosurf, with drawing that and curve, with polyline viewer, we can actually use random value for the radius. This will give variations along the path. So I like this. So it's 3 different ways you can draw using nodes. Okay. Alright, so let's randomize these. There you go. Now we can go back to our vector noise. We can increase the number of lines, create scribbles. Actually, less is more with this. And you have not just Berlin original, you can also use other things like cell noise, Voronoi to get different result. And the nice thing about this setup, of course, you can always resample the dots. And there you go. That's, I think, procedural node 3 drawing. So it's day 6 of November. Alright, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.